go through obviously the what's hot list and have a look at some of our currencies. We're also going to have a look at the futures for last week and have a look at what's on and what's off. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the new Pro-Trader Platinum strategy, which I'm going to take you through. It's a bit of it's using some of the stuff from obviously the V2, but adding some additional filters in, and I think you'll like the initial look at this system, because it's looking really good as far as performance and usability as well. So let's get underway firstly and have a look at some of the systems that we've been tracking for a while now on the currencies. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at system number 76, and I'll just pull this one up here. Now, this system is a cycle trading system, so it's on the pound US dollar, and it's been running well for a while now. It's got $109 average trade net profit, so pretty happy about that. It's been a nice consistent former. It is going through a little bit of a drawdown at the moment, so for those of you who are trading the cycle, now remember, one of the things that we do when we're tracking the currencies is we should always be looking at the currencies from the point of view of volatility as well. So you're definitely going to want to load up a daily chart and track the volatility for your currency, just to make sure that, particularly on the the pairs like the pound, the euro yen, that they're not getting too volatile, because if they do, then obviously they start getting bigger ranges, then that might be jeopardizing your potential stop strategy. So you can see a good distribution between longs and shorts there. So system 76, a little bit of a drawdown, but been a solid performer. System 58, let's have a look at the average trade net profit there. So still running at 64%, which is great for the cycle trader. $111 the average trade net profit, and you can see there the performance. It's a little bit jaggedy, but it's it's onwards and upwards, just flattening out a little bit at the top here. But this system has been very, very good and continues to work well. So let's have a look at system number 27. Now this is one that had a little bit of a bad patch here. So if we remember, we actually traded this. Now my data's loaded up from the only back from the 4th, so it's not back anywhere near from the 1st of January. Now, if you remember, this system 27 was the one that made that 19k in 12 weeks. Now, then it had a bit of a drawdown, and now it's really pushed back up again. So, with the euro yen, it's a market that you've got to really be watching, because when it gets really volatile, it will trade. It won't do as well, obviously, on the cycle trader, but when it gets into these, at the moment it's tracking beautifully. So it's probably one of the better performing strategies, the euro yen on the cycle trader. That's the system number 27. You see there just a lovely little short there, and not too sure how many people are trend trading it, but it's been tracking nicely on the trend trader as well. So we'll go over to system number 47. Now this is one that I've done a little bit of work on. There you go. So let me I'll have to just pull that data back. I'll load that up in a second. What I'll do is before I go into system 47, I'll just push some more bricks back on that. Actually, that actually brings me to a really good point. I had a question from, I think it was Adrian today, and Adrian's question was basically, I think it might have been Eddie, was asking about what happens if you load a chart up. Say, for example, you download one of the charts from the members website, and you obviously fairly keen to get it going, and you load it up, and it comes up looking like this. So you load it up, it looks like this, and you think, well, this thing's been loaded up as one of the top performing strategies, and it's given me an equity graph like that. What you need to do is you'll need to go into Tradestation, go to the format symbol section, and you'll just need to start probably just loading the months back. So probably start with 1 month back. Now remember, with any time you're tracking the currencies, you absolutely need to make sure that, so there's a month back, you just want to keep doing that, just slowly filtering the data in, go 2 months back. But every time you load a chart up on the currencies, you need to have a calibration point. And what I mean by that is a point at which you start your charts if you're using the Renko bricks. So obviously this isn't working at the moment. I'll need to do a control R is another option. But what I mean by a calibration point is that you don't want to just leave your chart 2 months back. Why don't I want to leave my Renko charts listed as 2 months back on my chart? What's going to happen with that process of doing that? And it's frustrating because if you do that, there's a certain thing that happens every time you load your chart up. So what you need to do, it'll keep moving the actual trade. So one day you'll have a trade set up looking really good, and the next day you'll open up and it'll be completely different. So you've got to calibrate your charts. So calibrating your charts, my recommendation is that you either go 4 days of the previous month back if you're doing your testing, or have a fixed date in the past that you lock your system to. And you'll see that when we go through MT4, when we do the MT4 training, when we set the actual charts up, there is a mechanism within the backtesting to anchor your charts at 0 and at a point, and the same applies for Tradestation. We want to anchor our charts at a certain point, so then at least we've got consistency with our results. Because remember that the Renko bricks, they're great, but you've always got that potential margin where you're not getting the high and the low of the day, so you're not always getting an absolute reflection of exactly how the charts are performing. Still a little problem with that, so I'll have to fix that up. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you too is this is one from Mark Payne. Now, I'll go through some more of our Forex strategies here shortly, but what I want to do is just jump over to one futures strategy that Mark's been working on. And for those of you who are familiar with Mark, he's one of our pro traders, trading in the US, loves the S&P, and he's putting together a few strategies on the S&P. But this is a cycle trading strategy. Now, this is one of the ones he's put together, running at 81%, so it's got a very, very high win rate. Average trade net profit is pretty good for the cycle trader. So how much slippage do you reckon we're going to get on the S&P? And remember, this is a 987 tick bar, so it's hitting the marks absolutely perfectly as far as the trade entries. How much slippage are we going to get on the cycle trader for the S&P? Do you think? Do you think we're going to get much? It's a high volume market. So, and remember, we're trading the cycle trader. So basically, when we take a trade, we're actually not trading. We're not trading really against with the trend, are we? We're trading against it. So typically, we're not going to get a lot of slippage. So that's a good result. Average trade net profit 66. So that's nice. So we'll keep an eye on that. It hasn't got a lot of trade. So we'll load this up in the system register. I'll load that up so everybody can jump in and have a look in the dashboard. And I'll just show you where I'm going to load this up to so people can see exactly where it's going to go to. Now, if I load a chart up on the system, it'll come up as a little black folder. So that's what it'll come up. Excuse me, hiccups. It'll come up with a little black folder, and it'll go into a place called the system register. So in the actual website, there's an area called System Register, Systems, and then you've got the System Register, that little black folder. So that's where our systems are that we want. Now, if there's a system that you particularly want to have a look at, or you want to examine, then basically all you need to do is go into the System Register. If it's not there, and you spot it on, say, the top 10 list of the futures, for example. So if we go into our top 10 results here. So here's the system register, and again, where I found that was I went systems, and then I went system register, and they're all in. Well, they're not all in there, but most of them are in there. If there's ones in there that you particularly want, just shoot me a message, and I'll either upload it or send it to you directly. Now, if you have a look at the results, futures results, you might find that there's a couple that are fairly new that haven't popped in there yet, or that haven't gone in yet. So particularly these two, there's a couple here from Brett, which are the two SN82 and SN83, which are brand new crude strategies, trading a little bit longer as far as time frame, doing exceptionally well. But I'll come back to this. I just wanted to alert you. Now, if you're new to the group, welcome for a start. So I've got a couple of new people in the room. So Adwin and Kim, welcome. Now, if you are new, every system we have, a system is basically, once we develop up a strategy, we get a system number that we allocate to the strategy. Issue there. All right. So every system, say for example, Mark has sent through that crude oil, the S&P system. So if I go back to that S&P system, what I'll do is I'll have a look at the system. I'll determine if it's so basically when a system comes in at this is the ES 987 cycle. Well, there's probably 2 or 3 cycle trading strategy on the S&P. So what I'll do is I'll give it a number, allocate it to our list, and then basically put it into the register. And then if you want to download that system, you go in and download the system, and you can modify the settings or keep the settings. But you need to track the systems or the settings because, as we've mentioned in the process of monitoring your system, you want to make sure that the system is still running according to the best settings. So that's monitoring and managing the systems, and that's why we have the system performance tracker. So if you haven't seen the system performance tracker before, so if you've missed sessions or you just haven't seen it before, basically what the system performance tracker is a complete breakdown on your charts of the system that you're trading. So it'll be in your data window. You'll see it because it'll have these horizontal lines at the bottom. But basically what it does is it tells you exactly what's happening with your strategy overall. So your system, it'll be broken down into obviously pilot, how much money the system's made, the maximum equity, the current. So if I put that there, the current equity, current drawdown 4250, the R break, your R equity, and your average trade net profit 6606. But then what it does is it doesn't just do that, it actually breaks down the system, as we've seen before, on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll give you the analysis of the system based on every trading day that you're trading. So as we saw last week in the optimization information, we've got this on the chart straight away. So you can see exactly what's doing well and what's letting you down. So what days are really trading exceptionally well. Obviously he's got Mondays off, but you can see here what days are doing really well and what days you need to focus in on. So then when you're trading in real time, you can say, right, well, I can just be tracking this every day just to make sure that I'm not trading a day of the week or once we break these days of the weeks into longs and shorts, if I'm not trading one that has a very poor average trade net profit that's dragging everything else down. Because that's what you really want to avoid. You want to make sure that you're running with your best settings. So you can see there's a lot of consistency there on those days, isn't there? All of the trades are fairly good, over $50, so you'd be pretty happy with that. Now, what I'm going to do now is basically just go back to the website for a second, and I'll just show you what I've uploaded, or what's been uploaded by the guys today. So you'll see that if we go back into our website, so this will probably take a couple of seconds to go back to the website details. So we'll go back to the dashboard. Now in the website, as I've mentioned before, every time we do an update, it gets loaded up on the dashboard. So the optimization video is up there, part 2 recording of last Wednesday. We're recording tonight's session. The end of the week. Now there's a few of you, and I know, Charles, you were after this, and I did see your email today, mate. Sorry I didn't get a chance to get back to you today. It's just been flat out, but I'll shoot a reply a little bit later on. But basically, the couple of things that Charles was chasing up, and I'll just give a bit of information on now. End of the week information, so that's come up as a member alert. So anytime there's a strategy update. So for example, if we do an improvement to a strategy or a fix on a strategy or a new ELD or a new update to something, it'll be in the members alert area. So anytime if you go in and you're thinking, well, I want to see what the sequence of improvements of say the trend trader have been, just go to the member alerts tab and just click on that, and you'll see that the most recent updates are in there. Basically, it'll be down the bottom, it'll be top to bottom. So the last couple of updates, V2 Elite trailing stop, support resistance. So if you go in there, you'll get the ELD and that'll be updated. But every time we send an ELD out, which is an easy language file, it'll have the most up-to-date information anyway. So if you, for example, miss something, it'll get picked up in the next update. But you've got your R tracker there. You've got the end of the day week exit. So for those of you who are really keen to, or are you using the end of the day exits, or you want to use the end of the day exits, then you're going to want to jump in and basically download this information. There's a document on the end of the day exits for custom sessions. Now we've got pretty much every custom session in there. So it gives you the process for putting that document into your Tradestation platform. And what that'll do is that'll take you out a couple of minutes before the end of the day. Because remember, the trouble we had with the end of day exit, and I'll explain it on the chart here in a minute, but basically what was happening was that if you selected an end of day exit, so your strategy was running right to the end of the day, it'll send an order to the market, and obviously you've got the bid ask at the market. Now, if it sends it on the close, end of day exit on the close, well, you've still got the bid ask. You've got to get filled on that order. So if that's a pending order and the market closes, you're done. So you've got to be careful about those end of day orders. So what we've set up is an end of day exit that sets up about 2 to 5 minutes before the market finishes for the day. So that way you're virtually guaranteed of getting an exit. I mean, there's no absolute guarantee, so you should still have your ping alert, and that at least allows you to be advised if your strategy has sent an order and you haven't been filled, or your strategy sent an order, and yeah, so you've got to definitely watch that. But this is a fix for that. So you've got crude oil, we've got wheat, you've got the Forex end of the week exit. So for those of you who are very keen on looking at getting out on a Friday, which I know many of you are, then obviously you can import that in and start using that as your end of week exit. You've got the Russell, soybeans, coffee, and then you've got the end of the week exit for the actual ELD and end of day exit for the futures. So that information's in there, and I'll just come out of there for a second. Now, what I wanted to do is also go through the Tradestation T4 bridge tonight and how that actually works before I jump in and start showing you this new strategy. So it's probably best for me to explain it like this. Basically what happens is if you're going to, say for example, I'm trading, we'll pull up the SN27. I decide that I like the SN27, I want to trade it. Now I'm living in Australia obviously, so I can't open an account with Tradestation. I can open an account with Tradestation, but it can only be a futures account, and I can't trade Forex through Tradestation. So I'm going to set myself a bridge up that sends these signals here to the MT4 platform, any MT4 platform I want. So the way I do that is the first thing I need to do is I need to basically set this strategy up in automation. So I go into my automation, I turn the system automation on. So I'm going to do that now. So I'll turn the automation on. Yes, I want it not confirming because that's going to take too long. So anytime I set a strategy up for automation with MT4, it has to be in simulation mode. So there's an issue with that, because obviously if I've got this system in simulation, I can't trade it in a live account. So if you are going to be thinking about trading MT4 with the Tradestation Bridge, or the bridge to MT4, you need to have, and you're trading the futures, if you're going to trade the futures and you are trading the futures, you obviously need to have two platforms. So you would need to have a futures platform and a Forex platform. So you can't. You've got to have your Forex platform running in simulation. So you can't do them on the one platform because the orders need to be sent in simulation. So this would need to be in sim. Now that's not a problem, obviously, but the only disadvantage is that that if you are setting up a simulated platform, then you've got to have a subscription, unless you're lucky enough to have a free Tradestation account, which I don't think any of us got. So you have to have that account running in simulation. Now, what you could do, and I thought about this the other day, is that you could actually, if you're, say for example, you're trading the Euro Yen, and you decide, right, well, I'm trading the Euro Yen, and this system is running, say, it's running 4 days a week. So it trades every day, 4 days a week. And it's running Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not going to trade Fridays because I don't like non-farm payrolls. I'm not trading Fridays because of certain reasons. So you decide that Fridays are out for you. However, you're a fairly active futures trader. Let's assume that you're trading a fair bit on the futures and that you will easily knock out, let's say five to six trades a week just on a Friday on the futures. What you could do is you could then say, right, well, I'm going to run one of my futures accounts on a Friday on this platform when the Forex is off, run it live, and that would obviously pay for your Tradestation fees. But you've got to make sure that it's a benefit to you, and you don't want to sacrifice the profitability of your strategy based on the fact that you need to squeeze in 1 day of futures trading. You've got to weigh up the risk to reward, and you've got to weigh up the performance of your strategy. So the other thing I was going to mention too is that if you are going to, say if you decide, you're going to trade Tradestation, you decide that you're going to have a futures account and a Forex account, and you're trading through a dedicated server. So if we go to my dedicated server here, so I'll just flick over to that, and we'll go to the desktop. So, and not this one, just go here to the desktop. You will see that. Okay, so this is my desktop. What you can do, and we've already confirmed this with Sky, is you can actually have a virtual desktop where you've got two, it's like having two desktops, two IP addresses. So you can load your Tradestation, let's assume that this side of the desktop is one desktop, this side's another, or two PCs on the one dedicated server, and then basically you can have Tradestation account number 1 here, account number 2 here, and that allows you then to run it all off the one dedicated server. So it can be done, and I've got all the information in relation to that. So I'll put that together in a bit of an outline and just give you a bit more information on that if that's something that you want to pursue in the future. So if you decide that, look, yes, I do want to trade through Tradestation, I do want to have the bridge, well, you just got to be mindful that you would be using a simulated account to send the orders to MT4, and if you want to have a double setup, so two, say for example, two Tradestation platforms running, say the cycle and the trend, then you would need to have two platforms set up executing to MT4, so two bridges. So guys, that's a little bit on MT4. Now what I want to do is jump in now and just take you through any questions on that. I've just got Damon who said, can we trade live on Forex and bridge it to MT4 at the same time? You can't trade live. You can't trade live through Tradestation at all unless you're a US citizen. So unless you're in the US, you can't trade live on the Forex through Tradestation. You can only send a simulated signal to MT4 through the bridge, and that'll execute in any MT4 account you've got. So it can basically be through any broker, which is great. Does that answer that question? There will be. Well, it depends. Like, it depends on what kind of order you're putting in. There can be some slippage on the bridge, but I mean, obviously too, it's a little bit of swings and roundabouts because your order might go in and you might get an instant pullback on the trade, or you might go into the cycle trader. If you're trading the cycle and the trend, you typically don't get a lot of slippage on the cycle trader anyway. So I haven't had the bridge running long enough to say that, look, the slippage is bad or anything like that. I'd need to see a lot more trades to make a definite decision as to the slippage, because I'm not seeing a lot at the moment. But that's something we need to continually track and monitor. And it also depends on, if you're trading during obviously the high volatility periods, you're definitely going to get some slippage. Yeah, via a simulated feed, that's it. Yeah, well, your Tradestation account needs to be a simulated account. It can't be a live account if you want to bridge it. All right, guys. So we'll jump into the strategy. So let's have a bit of a look now. Just before we go into the system, this new system, I just want to run through the results on the futures first. I'll go through the Forex on Thursday as far as the performance and what's hot, what's not, because they seem to be running quite well as far as the results. There's no need to look at turning anything on or off there. But on the futures, the Euro Bund's been struggling a little bit. So our 2 Euro Bunds have just struggled a little bit, and definitely the 144's off. The 55 hasn't been doing as well either. But the good news is that we've got a couple of additional strategies to add here. So again, I'll just basically hide a couple of these so we can. It's a bit of an easier visual of what's happening. So you've got here that, again, system number 3 performing exceptionally well. The new TP, which is the standard way we trade, this is all on one contract, Kim. That's running beautifully. So we basically had a losing week last week, and that's going to happen. Like, if you look at historically over the last 14 weeks, which is the most recent period of trading, there hasn't been a losing week on this cluster of systems here. However, on the 15 that we're tracking, but it's going to happen. Like, that's trading. You've just got to manage your drawdown, manage your circuit breakers, get rid of the systems that aren't performing or producing enough profit, and add in the ones that are. So, but for the guys who are trading system number 3, doing exceptionally well, the Russell's doing well. Still took a losing week. Now you've got to decide whether you need to make sure that if you are trading these 2 here that have got the new stop and the old stop, you've got to make sure that you've got the right stop for your strategy. So do you want to trade with a more of an open style strategy where you've got a large trailing stop, or do you want to have a fairly tight stop? I'm going to talk about stops tonight because I've got a really nice I've got a really nice strategy for exiting positions as far as the MACD Bollinger Band. So I'm going to show you that tonight. I'm going to make that indicator available to people to trial. But getting back to our systems, you can see here that coffee 55 was down, wheat slightly down. Crude systems did pretty well last week, so they did fairly well, as did soybeans. And coffee 89 tick revised, so that was good. Now this is without any money management at all, so you can imagine once you start putting in your delta rate of increase, you're going to really get to see what's running well, what's not running well. The other thing is too, the top 2 at the moment are these 2 down the bottom. So you can see system number 82 and system number 83. These 2 are running exceptionally well. Now these are two from Brett. So you definitely want to be having a look at those. I'm going to post those 2 up in the members room. Look, I haven't sorted the top 3 systems, Sean, because the top system at the moment is system number 3. It's not because it's the most profitable, but it's because it's the most consistent and the best average trade net profit, or close to, and also it's the one that's been running for about 2 years. So that system there only trades probably 3 days a week, trades for 10 minutes, so return on investment and time in the market is fantastic. So these systems will be loaded up onto the member site tomorrow, so you can download those and sort those if you want to have a look at those. So you're more than welcome to do that. So just set up a sort filler. So guys, that's the top 10 systems. Now I'm going to add marks in here, and I'm going to give that a number because I just like the fact that it's a cycle trader. I'm going to add that. I'm going to add a few cycle trader strategies in there, and we're going to be tracking those as well. So we definitely want to add a couple of more. Like this is obviously just the trend trading system. So when this goes up tomorrow on the website, just feel free to jump in, download the spreadsheet and have a bit of a play with that. You'll also, once you have a look at the average or the overall profit on the strategy, feel free to download the actual workspace yourself and have a bit of a play around with that. See if you want to customize it or adjust it accordingly. So guys, we're going to just jump into our systems now. So let me just flick this down. Hey guys, this is the strategy I've been working on for a little while now. There's a couple that we've got in the pipeline at the moment. This is one of them, so I'll just get rid of that. Just let me know if you can all see that in the room. Yeah, the return on investment, single contract, particularly if you're trading with a 1,000 delta, which I know some of you are, it makes a huge difference to your overall performance. So you would know that anyway, Sean. So Sean definitely would be fully across that. So that's just one contract. So it'll make a huge difference if you start applying. And once you start comparing the systems and looking at your average trade net profit and your drawdown across a number of strategies, you can start to manipulate your delta based on your drawdown. So guys, what we're going to have a look at here is we're looking at the platinum. Pro-Trader Platinum strategy. Now there's a couple of things that I'll take you through. This is the first look at, I originally started looking at this from a momentum point of view, but as I've been testing and developing this strategy up, I've kind of morphed it into something a little bit more. So I'm going to just give you a bit of a rundown on exactly how it works, and then I'm going to take you through different parts of it. And over the next couple of training sessions, I'm going to give you more and more training on it, because what I want you to do is I want you to do a bit of testing on it. I'm going to release this out for testing this month, so you can have a really good look at it. But I'm pretty happy with the way it's running at the moment. So it'll trade on futures and Forex, so it runs nicely on the Forex market, particularly on the 5 minute. So I'm not running it on a Renko chart, I'm running it on the 5 minute euro, the pound. So there's a number of currency pairs that I'm kind of tracking this on. But nice and simple. It's not a complex strategy. It's basically, it combines both. It's combining both momentum and just looking at, the specific wave count or phases of the market. So what we're looking at is the first thing we're looking for is we're looking for a run up and the potential for divergence. Now, I haven't got the volume spike, volume divergence indicator on here. I'll actually load up one of those now so you can see what I'm talking about. So what we're looking for when we're tracking or when we're looking at this strategy, we're looking for any clue as to where there's going to be a potential reversal for us to get into a trade. So anywhere where we can see, now if you've got this red here, that's a potential sell setup. It's telling you that there's divergence between the buyers who are in control here at the moment and the sellers. So what it's saying is that we're losing buying momentum or buying volume, the volume for the buyers here. So we've got a volume divergence between buyers and sellers, and based on the contracts that are being processed. So basically what we're seeing is that instead of buying momentum increasing here, we're getting a divergence and the sellers are starting to take control. So that's the potential catalyst for a reversal. Now, what we also want to see is we want to see divergence here. So we're looking for divergence on the setup, and then once we get a close below our momentum lines here, the initial close, we need to break our typical dynamic support, which we've got there, and we're only looking to take a trade. There's two criteria for taking the trade. The first criteria is that we need to break this first probing candle through support. So we need to see a clear breakthrough support, and that the entry only gets taken if we actually break that candle. Now that's the first type of entry, so that would be the entry would be here, just there. Now the second type of entry is where we get a push through and then a pullback, breaking back through support, and then a close back below support. So you've got two types of entry. Needs to still stay below the lines, and the second one is a real confirmation of breaking that initial probing price bar there. So that would be your first potential entry. Now, once you're into the trade, you're looking for a minimum 10-point move, and then you can start using the MACD Bollinger Band indicator to start taking you out of the trade. So this gives you a heads up as to when you should be taking profit. So you've got your standard trailing stop. You've got the TP, which everyone's familiar with. Everyone would have done a fair bit of testing on the TP, which is the little red dots. We also have this. We also have the magenta momentum line here, which we can take as our trailing stop. That opens the trailing stop up a little bit more. Now, what I've also included in this strategy is that once this MACD goes from red to green, you should be looking to potentially take profit there. So that would be as soon as you hit that green, you're looking to take profit. So you'll find that it sometimes it'll get you out, at break even, or maybe a little bit worse, but it saves you. You'll find that when you go through and do your testing, this saves a lot of money, and it also gives you a lot of profit that you potentially wouldn't get access to. So the next setup, that's the initial entry based on the initial break, and this is what we call our first phase of the move. So if you want to look at wave counts, it could be of your first wave number one, and then you've got your pullback into this. So when we see this structure set up, we need to have a support for a short setup. We need to have that support band below that magenta line, at least below the magenta line. We need to have some divergence, either volume divergence or volume and price divergence. And we need to see, once we've got into that trade, we're looking to exit obviously on this. That's a potential exit option. You can use a trailing stop, but this is one way that we've coded this system up. Now the second trade sets up here with a pullback to support, resistance. So this resistance area is where you're looking to add your second trade. So if you're thinking about the market dynamics, you're not actually trading, you're looking, when you're doing your testing for this strategy, you may be testing up, say, times of the day where there's volatility, but it's opening up your options a little bit more because you're not zeroing in on an exact time of the day. You're saying, right, well, I know the DAX session is a good session to trade because it's basically volatile in the mornings. This will help me reduce the number of strategies I've got in relation to, or the number of trades I take in relation to false trades, because I'll only be trading with the momentum of the system, and there will be a cycle or a range indicator for this as well, so you'll be able to kind of filter out some of the rangier type price movement. But let's keep going. So we've got a secondary setup here, which is a short, which is off the pullback, and we only take the short entry off the pullback once we get our Bollinger Band red turn again. So that, and we've got our squeeze here. As long as we get that squeeze and we get our red entry, then we're on. Now there'll be two different settings for the Bollinger Bands, and I'll give you those as part of the training. But at the moment, these are the settings here: 24, 52, 30, 22, 2, and 1. We're going to use a slightly more aggressive entry point for the pullbacks because this is a little bit too slow. like on my testing, this should be 12, 26, 15, should be half of this at least. That will get you in a lot quicker, and the setups will be a lot better. You'll have a lot better reward to risk. Now, once you're in the trade, you're basically looking to run this down, and this is what we call phase 3 or wave 3. If you've had any experience with Elliott wave, you'll be looking, okay, well this would be wave 3 of your move, and obviously different times. If you're trading on a higher time frame, you're going to get bigger trade setups. A lower time frame, the waves will be a lot smaller, and you won't always get nice clean setups like this, but the system is designed to keep you out of the choppier strategies by having certain filters that keep you out of that. You're not going to get out of all of them. It's impossible to do that, and not all your setups will be perfect, obviously, as we know, but this will definitely increase your probability of success. Now, as we get down here in this short trade, which we're short from here, we're taking this trade and we're basically going out on this trade. So when we're in the trade, we have to see the price move at least 10 points. Now, you can dictate what your price movement's going to be. So if you decide, once I get into a trade on a short side, I'm going to need at least a 10-point move, you might decide it might be 20. But you can build that into your strategy so it's nice and objective. Because remember, we have to be objective with everything we do. So you can see this move comes down here, nice sell, and then we've got what we call volume divergence on the short side. So it's telling us that the buyers are losing, the sellers are losing control, and the buyers are starting to gain some momentum. So we're losing that. Now we haven't got divergence here, but we're losing that. So we're actually going to take profit here. So that's an option for you to take profit. Now you can stick with the trailing stop. You can stick with the TP as your stop, or you can stick with support resistance. So you've got a number of ways you can take profit on this strategy again, similar to the V2, but we're just adding a few other little additional indicators. Now this is our third run down, so we get back to a pullback to our fourth wave, and then we've got our final run down. This is another area to sell. So we're taking profit here, and we're looking to sell again here on the pullback. Because remember, we're looking for between 5 to 7 of these runs or waves, and or phases, and this is our fourth, and then our fifth down to this main support. So what we're looking for ideally, when we're looking at this strategy, we're looking for ideally a nice pattern to develop like this, using our support resistance, because that gives us structure in the market. If you're trying to trade and you haven't got like a roadmap or structure, then it's very difficult to sometimes see these patterns set up. So at least with the dynamic support resistance, we're seeing that, all right, well, if I open this up, I can see that clearly I've got a nice final run down. I've got some support here, and this is what I call the end of the trend zone. So once you get that fifth run down, you're looking for your MACD to show you that basically price is starting to lose its momentum. And you can see it's starting to head towards that zero line. So the zero line, remember when we cross the zero line on the MACD, we're starting to get momentum to the top side. So this is showing me that, right, well, there's our first, we're definitely not going to take a trade off this area here. That's because this thing could go down, and it still can go down even if it sets up this second. But these are very high probability setups when we get this second support bar here, particularly when we've got this resistance, this dynamic move here, and we've got divergence on our MACD. The other thing is interesting too is we do get a glimpse of the divergence here. See that little, that's all we need. We just need to show that we've got divergence in this move here. We get a pause divergence, and then we're ready to go for this to set up. So we get some consolidation here, and then basically we're ready to take this entry, because once we've got that second setup, that double bottom, that sets us up for a double bottom long, and all we need once we've got that is basically to turn and we're in the trade. So that would be, and then we're on again. So we're basically looking to go long again. And so our first is a bounce off that double bottom. Our second entry is again a break So we're getting our cross prices above. We've got our resistance above the band on our momentum line, so we're ready to go long. We're getting a squeeze of the bands, which tells us that we're contracting on this trend. We've got our double bottom, so we're looking for a push up. So we get long in this trade only when we clearly break that area, and we're long. And then this trade, we're in this trade as long as price goes and then stays green. And once we get that momentum turn and we get the red dot on the MACD and Bollinger Bands, we're out. So basically, they're the phases that you're looking for. Now, as we would normally do, it's 12 o'clock on the DAX, so it's 12:30. What aren't we going to be looking for between 12 o'clock and say 1400 or 1350 or 1330 on the DAX? What time is that on the DAX as far as the general trading day? It's lunch hour, isn't it? So we're not typically going to be trading the lunch hour of the market when we're trying to look for momentum. So we just step aside now. We don't have a trade. We don't have a short trade anyway. So even if we were contemplating taking a trade here, this is lunchtime. We've still got to be cognizant of the fact that the trading day is broken up into obviously potential opportunities as far as volatility. We know the moves are on morning and afternoon session. Lunch is to be avoided unless you're trying to trade the cycle trader or a cycle type trading strategy. And then we're looking for our next opportunity. So then we get towards the end of the day. So that's a nice little look at the phases, and it does a similar job on the. If we go to the 5 minute on the Euro US dollar, you'll see that it actually presents some nice opportunity there. Obviously, there's a nice gap there, but going through this yesterday, you've got some nice turning points in the market. The 5 minute is a little bit scrappier, but it's still showing some really nice moves, both intraday and some of these trades are fairly good longer trades as well. You can see there. All you're really doing is you're trying to trade with the main momentum of the market, and you're just using this as your potential exit. So it's not always going to be perfect as far as the getting you out of the trade, but at least as you can see, if we take this long here, we're trading with momentum here. We're starting to move up, and that's a nice little run up. And then our exit point, where do we get out? Do we get out as a trailing stop? Like, we can use the normal trailing stop, but you can see there that it just takes you out nicely. Again, those settings are a little bit higher, and you're using fairly small reward. It's fairly small risk to reward on these trades anyway, because you're basically just trading with the momentum of the market. So, and the other thing that I like about the strategy too is that it's going to add the key levels as well. So there'll be times when we're looking at these strategies when we're saying, right, well, I like this setup, and I've been having a look at it on crude, and crude is a resounding one for the key levels. So the key level filter will be in this as well, and the key level filter will act in two ways. It'll act as a potential for taking these bounce strategies. So, for example, if we get a setup, say at 128 on the short side, and we've got a key level there at 128, and we've got a short, it might be that, say for example, we get the setup right here, we're probably going to get filtered out of a lot of these trades on the key level. But they become then, if we're going down into the phases of the market where we go back to the DAX, and we'll flick back to that strategy, and we get that double bottom, and you see this all the time on crude. When you see a double bottom on crude around a key level, that is a perfect spot for a potential entry. So you definitely want to be now this double bottom. It's interesting. This double bottom on the DAX sets up at 73. So that would have kept me out of this trade here because of the key level. I'd need to obviously do some more testing on that, but it would definitely mean that I would be looking to potentially take the long setup once I broke, because once I get away from that, that 10 point either side suction point for the key level, I'm at least clearing away. Whereas when I look at this double bottom here, and you'll see that on crude oil, when you have a look at this strategy on crude oil, it sets some beautiful trades up on the key level where you get this double bottom or double top right on a key level, and it's a great opportunity for you to go in and obviously take the trade. So, guys, that's a first look at the Platinum Pro Trader Platinum strategy. As I said, it's combining momentum, the end of the trend bounce. So we're looking for that end of the trend setup. And once we get that end of the trend double bottom, double top, intraday, we're looking for that setup, and we're also looking for the pullback trade as well. So it's almost like a 3-in-1 strategy that we're going for here. So you can imagine that you're looking to take trades, you're looking to add to positions, so you're locking in trades for profit based on the move, but you're also adding positions in here on the pullback because you've got higher probability setups when you do get trades like that. And obviously you're only taking the trade. It's great when you see a pullback like this and you're just sweating on this. So you know that you've got your resistance, you know that you're in a nice little downtrend, you know you've got your resistance print, and all you're waiting for this thing to turn and give you your entry point. Once this thing turns, it'll give you a faster entry point on the higher setting. But once you've got that, you've got the potential for this to move a lot lower, and you're just writing this down as you go. So it's a nice little strategy. So guys, that wraps it up for me tonight. Any questions before I go? I'm going to be I'm definitely going, as I said, I'm going to be finishing this system off in the next couple of weeks and getting it out to people to have a look at and a bit of a play with. And then we're working on a couple of other strategies as well. So there's a couple of other systems that we're putting together that we'll also be shooting you out to have a look at too. So one of them is that MAE MFE strategy, and times are the times on Tradestation Brisbane time. No, they're all. I always set these trades. Always set this. I'll just go in here, Edwin. I always set this to exchange time. I find that if we're yeah, good question, Sean. I'm looking for the green. Well, yeah, on the shorts, definitely on the green. On the longs, I'm looking for the red. But I am, because I'm pretty much looking to, because I've got a 3-phase strategy. I've got the momentum entry, I've got the pullback, and I've got the bounce strategy. I'm looking for, and Giovanni's been fantastic at helping develop this up. I mean, a lot of this stuff we've been working together on, so it's been excellent. The MACD was also something that I've been talking to Brett about as well. He came up with a bit of an idea on the MACD, so that was excellent. So just like if you do have ideas, guys, this is the great thing about putting together strategies like this. If you come up with a great idea for adding value to a strategy, feel free to send it through, because at the end of the day, you guys are going to be the ones using this. So the better the systems we create as a group, then the better for everybody. So if you have something that you think might add value to the strategy, once you get more information about it, obviously it'll make it a little bit different. It'll make it a little bit easier. But as I said before, the main contributors to this one have been Giovanni, and Brett added some stuff in as well on the MACD, which was great. So do you form red? Do you form read the bars? Each end of trend shows collection of green bars. Look, end of trend basically to me is I want to see, Sean, that I've got my dynamic support resistance going in this 5 to 7 cycle and then I want to see some consolidation. So I want to see some fair consolidation end of trend. I mean, no setup's going to be perfect. We'll break this area here, and red and green definitely. You'll often find that end of trend will be red and green. You'll get that bar distribution between your support and resistance, and that's a good indication that you've lost the momentum of the trend, but you're also consolidating. So we've got to make sure we keep it objective, and you're not going to get, not every day you're going to get a nice little setup like that. So you're going to have to really bide your time, but that's why it's important to have the filters. One of the filters will be that your setups need to go a certain distance before you even start looking for a pullback. So that requirement might be 10, 20, 30 points, 50 points, or whatever the run is. It might be, depending on which market you're trading. Because you might say that, right, well, for me to get into this type of strategy, I need to have a certain run up on that first run on my system. And then at least, you're looking for your pullback, but you want to have this count going, which will design into the system, and that at least, and remember too that this is all done in automation. So we're not trying to visually pick these cues up. We're just but as I said before, if you've got an idea or you want to put something into you see something that we can do to improve it, definitely put it forward, because it'll just help with the overall performance of the strategies. So guys, that was it for me for tonight. As I said, I'll be doing some more training on this. I'll give you some more examples. We'll go through some other markets. I'm going to show you on crude as well, because I think this has got huge potential on crude. I haven't done all the testing on all the markets yet. I've still got to finish off the automation, but it's looking really good as far as markets like that where there's volatility, particularly crude oil, because there's some fantastic moves in that market, and not just the US session. You got the European and obviously the early morning session and the afternoon crude session too. So there's plenty of opportunity there, and something like this would be running all day, wouldn't it? It would be running. It'd have its filters, so you wouldn't be trading all the time. But when there's volatility, this thing would be on and looking for those type of setups where it gets that count going. So guys, thank you for your time. Always a pleasure to see you in the room, and we'll look forward to catching you on Wednesday night. So we're going to do a little bit more on Wednesday night on automation. And okay, traders, thanks for your time. If you did enjoy the video, please feel free to just click on the like button below the YouTube video, and that'll help us to keep posting these videos up on YouTube, because we'll be getting some feedback, which is great. And also, if you'd like to become a GMT Pro Trader, please email info@gmtfutures.com for more information. You can also visit our website at www.gmtfutures.com. So thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next video update. Cheers.